Hey, welcome to another episode of Sober Not Sane. I'm your host, Jebb Fink. And before we get going, if you don't know Liz from the camera store yet, please go down there. She's very, very cool, and she helps us out with equipment and make sure we can get on the air and look this good on the air. It's not easy to make me look good. So go and see her. Go see Liz. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe and like us on YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And Quinn Teechma, is that correct?
Absolutely.
All right. See, but you kept, and then you were saying it differently. And you're the current Miss Travel Canada.
Miss Canadian Tourism 2021.
Miss Canadian Tourism. Well, they've obviously written it down wrong. But I'm not going to take this. And you're competing for Canada Miss Universe.
Yes, I am competing for Miss Universe Canada 2022. It will be held in May in Toronto.
In Toronto. Figure that. It's going to be in Toronto. So do they do it? How do you qualify for that? I have not ever been a beauty queen, believe it or not. I know nothing about it.
You haven't?
No.
That surprises me. Well, you start off by inquiring with Miss Universe Canada, and you go through an application process. They are selective, so you do have to do multiple interviews, phone interviews or Zoom interviews, and they ask you a series of questions and find out what you're all about and what your platform and what you stand for and what causes you support, and if you're a good fit for the competition. This year, I believe that for their 70th anniversary, they're aiming for 70 women to compete.
There you go. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not one per province. It's
Many.
women across
All across the country.
Do we have a Mr. Universe? It seems sexist to not.
You know, there are some pageants that do males. There is.
Yes.
I know when I competed and I won my previous title, I actually did meet Mr. Canada. So it's kind of fun. It's a lot less involved. There's only a few of them, and there's not really a competition. It's more that you apply for it, and if you're a good fit, they select somebody.
Okay, that's perfect. And this, when Dave Kelly was on the show, we talked about a mishap I had involving the Miss America contest, which turned out to be hilarious to everyone but sponsors. But so, is it the same criteria? Because when I watched the Miss America one, it seems odd to me. It seems less about it's more aesthetic involved than who you are as a person.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, if you look back on pageantry a long time ago, like going in the 50s, 70s, they used to announce women's measurements as they walked out on stage. You know, you're 5'6", your waistline is 24 inches. And pageantry's come a long way from then. I think that there's a lot of misunderstandings about pageantry, and it has evolved over time. Now, if you look at Miss Universe Canada and the contestants, it's really more about the platform that you yourself are building. It's not about what can I do with the Miss Universe Canada platform. It's the platform that you've already built, and what are you putting your life into? You know, like what are you creating with your life, and what are you standing for, what causes? And Miss Universe Canada does work with a lot of great causes like SOS Children's Villages, which is the charity that I'm working with moving forward into my competition and raising funds for. So I'm really excited about that because they are a great charity. And that's the type of thing that we do now in beauty pageants. And it's really nice to see the change. I mean, yes, obviously it's still about being beautiful and healthy and, you know, being fit, but it's not so much let's walk out and announce what you weigh and what your measurements are.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I forgot that they did that, but yeah, I do now remember as a kid that they would announce their measurements. Mm-hmm. And there's something bizarre about the Barbie doll, and the actual shape of the Barbie doll. If you expanded it into an adult woman, it would be.
She was like 7.5 feet tall or something. Her waistline was like an arm.
Yeah, really misshapen. She would be at the circus.
Scary.
But somehow Barbie, like who was in charge of the Barbie doll going, well, that's the perfect
Yeah, it
image.
is nice to see. Like, I think that body positivity in general, I mean, I am a women's empowerment boudoir photographer, so I do a lot of work with women and a lot of work on body positivity and even just like self-image. And I
Right.
think it's really great to see stuff changing slowly. Even the modeling industry, there's a lot of curvy plus size models. The industry's changing, not as quickly as we'd like, but it is changing.
Yeah, that's something that I think that could easily be done. And if you're focusing on your charity work, that's a big part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually hosting a live charity event here in Calgary. We just officially got the date, April 10th. We're going to be
Okay.
down at Craft. So it's a great place. You know, everyone in Calgary knows Craft, loves Craft. It's local. They are amazing. The atmosphere, the building is beautiful. So I'm pretty excited. We're going to be doing a fashion show, a 50-50 raffle kind of thing. And I think that we'll hit our goal. I've set a lofty goal of raising $30,000.
Okay.
So,
So let's hold right there. If somebody can't go to the event or wants tickets to the event, or just flat out wants to cut you a check to donate because it's a great cause, how do they get a hold of you?
well, my social media is all the same at Quinn Teechma, Quinn Teechma, Teechma. So I am very easy to find. My studio website is also pretty easy to find. It's queenstudiosyyc.com. So that's definitely the way to go. I am going to be setting up an Eventbrite ticket so that people can purchase. And then I will most likely be setting up a GoFundMe page for random international donations because I know that I do have some following internationally, and I do want to make sure that everyone can donate even if they're not local.
Well, and I mean, that's such a great thing. I don't recall when you're talking about they'd come out and they'd say their measurements. I don't recall them having any interest in who the contestants were as a human being.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's come a long way. And, you know, I think that typically what people think about when beauty pageants come up, it's that old school, and it's also like toddlers and tiaras. And it's just not
weird.
how it is anymore. You know, it's strong women being taught really important life skills. And the women that are competing at this level in Miss Universe Canada, we are people who have worked for years to not only build our platforms, but worked to know ourselves. It's a lot of self-development. And I think that people don't really realize that, you know,
Right.
it's knowing yourself and knowing what's your opinions on topics and how do you fit into the world that we live in.
So if you were talking to how old were you when you started the pageant stuff?
You know, it's kind of a little bit of a funny story. I was actually scouted for Miss Universe Canada when I was 17. And the age limit, you have to be 18. So at the time, I was driving. My mom was driving me all the way to Vancouver from Kelowna. She was amazing. Drove me back and forth for training multiple months. And then I didn't end up competing. So my birthday was 2 days before the pageant. So I would have been their youngest contestant ever.
Wow.
And then I ended up moving to Alberta, and it was quite the commute. And I also got to the point where I realized, wow, these women are powerful women, and I am 17 years old, and I do not know what I'm doing at all. And I never did pageantry again. I got more into acting. Okay. I started more recently in the last few years building my business and going after my dreams. And I definitely have really enjoyed the process. And then about a year and a half ago, I just thought, that pageant, I never did do that. I should do that. So I have applied, and here we are. I was actually supposed to compete last year, but it was shut down. And for the first time in 70 years, Miss Universe Canada did not have a competition.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. They appointed the runner-up, Tamara. She was the runner-up in 2020. So they appointed her as the winner of 2021.
Okay. That's nice.
Yes. So she represented us this past December in Miss Universe. And now, moving forward, we are having a pageant. It's happening. They're like, we're not letting this happen again. We have to go forward with it.
So is it something that's televised?
It is, yes. So they televise all of it. It's really big, and I'm pretty excited. It's a big stage.
Yeah, it's what is it like? I couldn't like from a guy's point of view, I couldn't imagine. The only thing I can compare it to is I've done quite a few comedy competitions, and it is completely insane in the green room. Like the green room's way more fun. The show is just like you're just trying to get into the top 5 that night or whatever. But the rest of it is the really fun part. What's it like backstage for an event like that?
Very hectic. Everyone's looking for boob tape.
Pardon me?
Everyone's looking for boob tape. Really.
Boob tape.
Oh, yeah. It's like boob tape. Where are my heels? Where's my hair? Where's my hairspray? And let me tell you, the amount of DIY broken outfit fixes that you see is astounding. When somebody tries to fix a broken dress with a very small pin, you will never see more determination on a girl's face in your life.
Like, recipe for disaster.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah, I was struck by that phrase. I never really heard it. Is it a carpet tape thing?
You know, I'm going to have to learn how to use it because I don't know how, but I'm going to work on that.
Well, because sometimes, like when you watch the Academy Awards and sometimes when they're walking down the carpet, I'm looking going, oh, it's got to be taped on.
Right.
Like there's no way.
A lot of these are one-time outfits. They
She's
they go on and they do not come off.
Yeah,
They're cut
but
off.
a yard short of material to make a dress.
Sometimes you do wonder. Yep.
Well, it's funny because that's a whole different thing because it's not, like you say, that's really not how the pageants are run. Certainly not anymore. I mean, it's not like a showy type of a thing, but for the Academy Awards, it definitely is. And even for the men, I mean, some of the tuxes that the guys are in are especially made for them. And I did hear of someone being sewn into their dress before they like.
Oh, yeah,
Does that
it
happen
happens.
for the?
I'm sure it happens in pageantry, you know, and sometimes it's also like, oh, I didn't get my dress fitted prior to this week. And so you're trying to sew the dress to fit you on the night of. And
Ounces are very important, I guess.
yeah. And, you know, the show is on the National Costume Night. So there is a national costume competition, and it is 25% of your mark. So you actually have to come up with a Canadian-themed costume. So red and white themed, and it has to represent our country, which that can be difficult, but there's been some really fun costumes. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but there was one girl did a whole hockey theme, and it was just the most incredible thing. It looked like a peacock frond, and that was her all hockey sticks. Well, it was so cool.
And I was just going to say the women just won the gold in hockey, so what a great time to do a hockey one, and also a very empowering thing for young women.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, it's nice to see women getting into sports, and that is the type of thing that pageantry does promote. And that's the thing that people don't realize is that they're promoting us to be healthy. They're promoting us to get into sports, to, you know, exercise, eat properly, and work on ourselves.
I really like the idea that you were building a platform, kind of the way it sounded to me, like a guideline for your life of what you wanted to do. I admire that. I have never had a plan, and I just kind of do whatever.
It worked out okay?
Yeah, but it's just like maybe if I were a little more focused or something. But, you know, maybe it wouldn't have. If I were more focused, would have screwed it up. But at 17 to go, okay, I want to do this, and these are the causes I want to support, and these are the things that are important to me. That's a lot of focus for 17.
Yeah, you know, I think that I have just always kind of had that mindset of I want to do something, and I wasn't 100% always sure what it was. I was really lucky to have a mother that was really encouraging and always told me I could do anything. She has been fantastic along the way, and I think having that good female role model is really important growing up. And I also think that people don't always see what you've mentioned. You know, people don't see that it takes really hard work right from the get-go. You know, like I have been curating and working hard on my goals and my platform since I was like 17, you know, and yeah, I kind of went the route of acting more for a few years, and I recently was in the film February's Dog, which is a mental health awareness film.
Oh, wow.
So that was my big break, my leading role.
Okay, and where can people see that?
That is actually premiering 2 days before the pageant, May 7th at the Globe Theater.
Bit of a busy week, eh?
Hey, up until a week ago, I thought they were on the same day. And I was like, how am I going to do this? Am I going to like go to the premiere, then catch a plane? I still think that I'm going to go to the premiere here at the Globe Theater. It's at 8 p.m. on the 7th of May, and I think I'm going to catch a flight right after to Toronto, because the pageant doesn't start until Monday, but they start the local women's and competition photos the day before. So obviously I want to be very prepared and prompt. So I'd like to be there the day before. So I'm going to most likely go to the movie premiere, catch a flight, fly to Toronto, compete.
Do the red eye.
Yeah, exactly. That's
I used to love the red eye flights.
Yeah, you could sleep it.
You're going to sleep anyway. Yep. But it just sounds to me, okay, I can do like what I do going on stage. I can do that with a 20-minute nap backstage. Like you, and people will actually just go, no, he looks a little rough tonight. But for you, all of it matters.
Yes.
And I'm assuming there's a Q&A.
Yes.
At many points, and you're going to have to be sharp mentally for that.
Yeah, so there's the national costume. The humanitarian project, I would say, is the biggest thing to consider here. And I definitely think that most competitors do not put enough work into their humanitarian project.
Don't tell them that.
Well, hey, I want a good competition. I'm not afraid.
That's your... No, I don't think you are.
So I really think that not enough women spend enough time on their humanitarian project, which is why I'm having this live fundraising event at Craft, and why I'm really pushing to raise awareness for SOS Children's Villages, rather than just like, oh, I'm going to raise a couple $1,000s. Here you go. That was my humanitarian project. No, I'm going to be doing a documentary short for it. I'm going to be talking about what SOS Children's Villages does and why they're important and why they're such a great charity to donate to. And then I'm going to provide all of that footage and all of the edited footage to them to use for promotional material, as well as we'll be showcasing a lot of it at our event. And, you know, we're just going to blow it up. So the humanitarian project is also 25% of your mark. And then we do have swimwear, which is just super fun. And again, health rather than sex appeal. It's definitely more about being healthy and being fun and just enjoying it and being confident in your own body. And then there is interviews and questions. So the interview is the scary part. That's where you actually... think about it like speed dating, but with judges. So you sit down.
All speed dating is with a judge.
That's true.
There's maybe different judges that you see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe speed dating should be less judgy.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
You know, maybe a lot more people would find happiness.
I don't know, but you'd have to hope so.
Yeah.
So and I wanted to talk to you about the body image, because I've always had this theory that if we looked in the mirror and saw what everybody else sees when they look at us, we would all be fine. But we don't see ourselves in a true light. Like I think guys, girls, whatever, men, women, you don't really see what you are, and you compare yourself. There's always all of the people on TV and in movies, and it's like, oh, I don't drive a Ferrari, I don't look like that guy, I don't, and for either end, and it amazes me sometimes, always has, some women that just don't. no matter what, they're never going to be happy with their image. So I have no idea how you correct that.
Well, that is what I do for a living, is I correct that, and I work with women to embrace their bodies. You know, it's interesting. I think you've hit on a really, really important topic of the mirror. And, well, first of all, we are seeing our own mirror image, but people see not our mirror image. So we're seeing actually the reverse of what people do see, which is weird. If you've ever gone on TikTok and seen that filter that flips you, it's weird. So first of all, like, you're judging something that people aren't even seeing. And I think it's the highlight reel. It's comparing yourself to girls on Instagram who have edited the crap out of their photos. Honestly, it's so overdone, and you're comparing yourself to somebody's top photo after they took 200 photos to get that shot, or you're comparing yourself to a model in a magazine who's had a team behind them. And, you know, like, that's what I do, is I have women come into my studio and they work with me, and they work with my team, and we have a whole team. And I think part of it is, you know, it's getting your hair and makeup done. It's getting all dressed up and fancy and with the glitter and the hair and the nails. And part of the process of boudoir is go and practice self-care. Take yourself, get your nails done, get a pedicure, get that foot massage, and enjoy that self-care time. Because women go through so many changes. We have children, we grow larger, we get skinnier, we have loose skin, we have stretch marks. And as our bodies go through all of these changes, we forget to take care of our bodies, and we forget to take care of our minds. And that's the process that I walk them through. It's taking care of yourself, pampering yourself for weeks leading up to your boudoir session, so that when you walk into your boudoir session, you're feeling like, okay, most women are still a little bit nervous when they walk in.
Well, sure.
But by the time that they sit down in the hair and makeup chair and they have a professional hair and makeup artist redo them up, they look in the mirror and they're like, is that even me? And it's like, yeah, like, you've been there the whole time.
Right.
And you're comparing yourself to women who have professional hair and makeup on Instagram and in magazines. And this is your chance to look just like your best queen version of yourself. And then you showcase that, hey, you can be photogenic. You just need a professional. Like, that's something that people don't understand, I think, is that it takes a lot of practice to be photogenic. It doesn't just, like, nobody's just photogenic. You're not. And that's what I do, is I help every woman be photogenic. I get every single good angle. I move her fingers if I have to in a shot. I move every curl. I move every inch of her body into the perfect position, and I take these beautiful, stunning photos. And I showcase to her that just because you don't have modeling experience absolutely doesn't mean that you can't look like a model and look like a beautiful queen in the best possible way. And most women cry when they see their photos.
Yeah. I find, like, for me, a lot of it is how a woman carries herself. It's not as much, a physical look or anything, but there's I like women that are really confident in themselves, and it doesn't have to be, theoretically the most beautiful woman. It's, she carries herself with a confidence is attractive. And I said to somebody one time, she was getting, some guy just said to her, I find you really attractive. And she said, I don't really get that. And I said, well, you're a really attractive human being. And I tried to get her to figure out, it's maybe not necessarily how you're dressed, how you did your hair, you're just like, all of you is an attractive human being. And not per se just sexually, but someone you want to be around, someone you want to have a conversation with.
It's interesting that you say that, because I actually think that goes both ways. And I find the most attractive thing on a man can be confidence. And I get a lot of comments on my TikTok from men and women saying, like, oh, I can't try that pose, because I do a lot of posing tutorials. And I get so many men being like, oh, well, I can't do that photo because my tummy. And I just think in my head, like, really? I like softer guys. Way more snuggly. So it's just interesting to me, like that perception of what is good looking or what is beautiful. And you're right. It's the confidence. If a guy comes up to me like and is just confident with his words and confidence with his posture, I'm going to find that 10 times more attractive than if a traditionally good-looking man walked up to me and was very extremely nervous and was like fumbling and just didn't know what to say. I would look at the confident man and be like, hey, what's up? And the other guy would be like, are you okay?
You got the really good-looking guy that's totally vapid. Like there's just nothing going on up there.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they just don't get it.
Maybe you should try a boudoir shoot. Have you heard of boudoir?
Boudoir? No. Although I think I talked about it before on here. I used to do a segment on the show that was Do My Job, and a lady wrote in, you would never have the guts to do my job. And she was a nude model.
Wow.
And I did it. But
oh my gosh.
And I'm not really that comfortable with doing that, but I thought, yeah, you know what? No matter what, it's going to be good TV. And I thought it was just going to be the artist and me, and he had a class.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, this is beyond a challenge. And, you know, I mean, they shot it so that it wasn't inappropriate or anything, but it would have been probably the first time for me where I felt what a lot of women probably feel all the time from when they're a young girl, of being judged totally on my appearance.
So did you feel more confident after you finished, though? Like after you accomplished it?
Not until I saw the instructor's painting.
Wow. You know, and that's how a lot of women I work with react too, is even like most of them are super almost like high on adrenaline after their shoot. They're so excited. They feel so confident, so good. But at the same time, I would say most of them have that, just that voice in the back of their head where they're like, well, my photos aren't going to look as good as the other girls' photos. I could never really look like that. But today was so fun and I feel great. And then they see their photos and they all cry with happiness.
Wow. But that's got to be empowering for you, too, to be able to give that to them.
It is the best job in the world. It really, really is. I can't even describe the feeling. And I didn't know that it was going to be that powerful when I got into boudoir. And, like, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it right now. Like, it really... It's the most incredible feeling in the world when I even just turn my camera around in the middle of a shoot and I show a girl an amazing photo of herself and she just like looks at me like, that's me. And I'm like, yeah, straight out of the camera, no editing. Like that's just you.
And that's in her head, right? That couldn't possibly be her. Well, I'm going to tell you this, I probably shouldn't, but it was the weirdest idea I had last weekend. And I think part of what happens in the mental health issues and homeless is they totally lose track of any self-care at all. And I said to somebody, we should do a calendar with men and women and have it hot and homeless.
Oh my gosh, that is a very fun idea.
And go do the whole makeover for them, and because I think a lot of that happens because of mental health issues.
Absolutely.
And total lack of self-confidence, and they don't believe in themselves anymore, and they don't even know who they are.
And a lot of them just don't even know where to turn and where to find information and how to get help.
Yeah, but if you duded up the guys and
I've seen some, even through COVID, I've seen some really interesting people doing projects similar to that. And I know that there is a hairdresser in the States actually doing homeless hair for free, which was really heartwarming. Nice. And I love to see stuff like that. So I'm the first purchase of that calendar. I'm ready for it. Get it. I want it now.
Oh, no, you don't. You totally misunderstand me. I'm the idea guy. You're the photographer. You already have this
More
set up.
projects? Okay,
Yeah, you
maybe
need some more to
post
do.
Miss Universe Canada.
Yeah, after you win.
You know what? I will do that on my sleep night. The one night a week that I sleep, we'll just do the calendar then.
Okay, yeah, you'll be fine. But so it's really interesting to me that, like, how old would you say you were when you thought that this would be something you wanted to do? And did it start as, I want to be a Miss Universe, a Miss Canada, a Miss whatever, or was it about helping people, and then it kind of morphed into, well, imagine what I could do as Miss Universe?
Well, I think the helping people was given to me more from my dad. We traveled a little bit when I was a kid. I know my parents traveled a ton. They took even my older sisters all over Nepal, India. I went to Nepal and India with my dad as well, and it was a really eye-opening trip to see like kids on the street sleeping in garbage, sniffing glue, like pretty eye-opening stuff. And that's definitely where my desire to fix broken systems in the world kind of came from.
Okay.
And on the other side of things, the fame, say, or the following passions, that has come from a very early age. I can't even remember what age I was. It feels like forever to me. And I just always felt like I needed to be doing something like acting and modeling. And I always felt like acting was the best job in the world because you could do anything. Like you could be a doctor one day, a police officer another day. You could be a dancer. And I thought it was so cool that actors get to learn all of these variety of skills and not commit 12, 20, 30 years of their life to each one of them.
But you know, if you play the part of a brain surgeon in a film, you
don't operate on the brain.
Don't operate
Are you
on
sure?
people. I'm pretty sure.
Dang. I was really hoping for that.
I don't think you really. I'll tell you. I met a lady at a wedding that I was actually hired. I was basically hired to go, oh, does anybody have a story about the bride or groom at the reception? And the rule was if I kept checking in with the groom, and if somebody started a story and he went, I just cut him off. Because there was like, they were starting a story he didn't want anybody to hear. But one of the women that happened to be there, she was, she worked in a crime lab in Florida.
Interesting.
And she was the, I don't know what you would call her. She was the woman that worked on
Corner?
CSI. No, she worked on CSI Miami on the show.
Oh, cool.
And she said the bad part about my job is I get paid quite well to do that. And she did it as a side thing. But she would go to the script and go to them and say, well, this would never happen. Well, nobody will know. So they didn't really, like, they used her, but they didn't really use any of her knowledge.
Yeah. It's unfortunate how many things like that happen. And I even get frustrated sometimes watching TV because I'm like, that would not, like, what is that fact? Come on.
Yeah, where did that fact?
I'm definitely a little bit of a continuity crazy person. Like I notice when a glass is half full in one scene and empty in the next scene. I see those things. They bother me.
Yeah, and there is someone paid quite well to sit there and make sure doesn't happen.
I know. That's the thing. Most sets have multiple people paid to sit there and make sure things like that don't happen.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, they have a photographer that'll take the first shot, and then when they're cut, boom, it takes another picture to make sure it's reset to the right?
Oh, it's insane the amount of photos and documentation. I could not imagine the storage level needed to keep all of that.
That wouldn't be a job I would want.
Nope. It's way more fun being the actor. So
I'm kind of okay with I can't act, so that part doesn't. I can act, but the character has to be a lot like me. As long as it's a snarky
typecast
guy.
is fine.
Yeah, which is okay.
There you go.
And for most stand-ups, if you're going to get a sitcom, they want you to be you. They're not looking for
So you're set.
some amazing acting ability. No, I'm too old now.
Hey, that is not true. Absolutely not true.
No,
There's
I moved
a lot
on
of
to
actors that get
father
into acting
and
when they're
grandpa.
older.
Yeah, well, I'm the father or grandpa at this point.
That's okay. What's wrong with that?
Well, I'm actually a great grandpa, so
See, there you go. You're perfect.
we start really early in my family. We get those families on the roll. But so you said that are both of your parents still with us?
Yes, they are. They're both in BC. So
Okay.
a lot less snow there. I call them and they send me beautiful photos of water and no snow.
So they're not nice, but they're there.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cruel way to do it. So you wouldn't, at this point in time, do you picture yourself, let's say everything goes great, you win the pageant. What's the next year look like to you? I was going to ask you if you would move to BC, but then it occurred to me it may be such a whirlwind year that it wouldn't make any difference where you live.
Yeah, well, luckily for me, I can work from anywhere doing boudoir. I mean, there are women that need boudoir everywhere. So that's helpful. So I have a lot of flexibility in my work life. And then for pageantry, once I win Miss Universe Canada, I will be representing Canada at Miss Universe. So that's scheduled for sometime between fall to December. This past year, it was held in December.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that it will be around December. And I will then win Miss Universe. And
Okay.
once I win Miss Universe, they actually have a New York apartment that Miss Universe lives in for the year of her reign.
Those aren't cheap.
No, they're not.
That's a good bonus.
Yeah, and it's an amazing opportunity to live in a big city that you can really grow your platform and really make a difference and speak about the things that are important to you and get your voice heard.
And that's a really, I think it's an important thing. When I always say when somebody calls me and says, can you help with this charity? I have a really weird way of looking at them. If it involves women in need or children, I'm right there. I have people call me and say, will you come and talk to my son? He's got a drinking or drug problem. I'm like, as soon as he calls me on the phone and asks for help, I'm right there. Because if they don't want the help, they're
Never gonna take
it's
it.
pointless. Yeah, I'm just some other asshole talking to
Yeah.
them. But kids, and a lot of time, unfortunately, women are in positions that they're not empowered.
Absolutely.
And they're totally dependent on someone that may not have their best interest in mind.
Yeah. And, I think pageantry is the only real industry that I can think of that truly empowers women, maybe other than boudoir, but it's a little different. It's the only industry that I know of that helps train young girls and women to walk confidently, to stand confidently, always stand like you're wearing a crown, and to self-learn. It's getting to know your opinion on politics, on the world issues around us, on your community, and on charities. And I don't know of any other industry that does that. You're not taught that in school. Like, school nowadays is more like
Does it really help you?
it's outdated, to say the
Yeah.
least.
Well, when I'm 64. When I went to school, there was something called home economics, which actually taught you how to balance a checkbook, plan your monthly bills, your groceries, like what to make, what to put, like how to plan to live. And I don't think they even have that.
My home economics class, I learned how to make a lemon meringue pie. Very useful skill.
Well, if you want to own a pie shop that sells one kind of pie.
Yeah, I do think that they need to do some updating. And the thing is that our school system was designed for a society that doesn't really exist anymore. Our society is changing so much, and entertainment industry and just electronics in general. It's changed the world. And I actually recently did an interview with Kevin Sorbo and Sam Sorbo. And Sam Sorbo's doing a lot. She has a new TV show on education, and I'm really excited to see what she's putting out there and the awareness that she's raising on updating the education system, because it is an issue and it is something that we need to look at and we need to fix. It's one of those broken systems, and that's the type of thing that I want to stand for.
But do you think it's always been like that? Do you think that the institution of it keeps it from progressing as fast as society does?
Yeah, I think that we are always going to have issues with that. It's mass information in general, I think, is what our issue is now, is we have every answer at the tip of our fingertips. Every question you could possibly think of, you can put in Google and you can get the answer you want or the answer you don't want. It doesn't matter. You can say, does apples cure cancer? Google has an answer that supports that. Does apples cause cancer? Google also has an answer to support that. And I think that mass knowledge, and people are having issues sorting through it, and it's overwhelming. And that's what I think our younger generation is dealing with now, is overwhelm. They don't know what to do with their life. They have all of the answers and none of the answers at the same time.
One of the things that I always, so Sate and Nate, Calgary and Edmonton, are focused more on trades than anything else. And for a while, I don't know really how it is out there in your age bracket now, but it was it was seen as, if you were a mechanic, if you were an electrician, if you were in the trades, that it was a lesser job, and that everybody that was going to school wanted to walk out of university and be the president of something.
Yeah.
And no clue that no matter what, even if you have the knowledge, everybody at the company you're going to knows more than you do. And I don't think, any of the schools prepare them for that. I mean, the UC was still cranking out engineers that aren't needed at a rapid rate. And I remember seeing somebody from the UC say, well, they're just going to have to get more creative.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's our school systems are teaching generic knowledge. It's a little bit of math, a little bit of English, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You can do any factory job. You're good to go. And those jobs just aren't what's available anymore. Even if you're looking at university degrees or college degrees, a lot of people go to college for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and they get out and there are not jobs for their industry.
Yeah.
So what do you do then? Well, I guess I'll go back to school and I'll upgrade. And then they go back to school and they get their master's degree. And then they come out and some of them get jobs, some of them don't.
Yeah.
It's just not a system that is set up for people to succeed. It's set up to be the bare minimum.
Yeah, I don't, and that's the whole point to the electricians, plumbers, that's a really admirable career.
Absolutely.
It's very, very necessary. Always will be. We will never not need electricians. We will never not need mechanics. And some of those jobs, you can make a really good living and have a great life.
Absolutely.
And to me, the focus should be on how to figure out how to have a great life.
Yes, it should be.
Like, I got none of that training. I mean, I knew how to have fun. That's what I got out of being in school. I learned how to have a great time. And I got really fortunate finding something I could do that worked out well for me. But how do you think we could actually train kids to go, okay, focus on figuring out how to be happy?
Well, that's a big question. And
yeah, I know.
I think that it does help when you encourage kids to follow their dreams. And that was something that my mom always did. And I touched on that a little earlier. And it's telling your kids that they can do anything. It's not closing doors in their face, And if your kid runs up to you and is so excited to show you their beautiful art piece It's not, oh, well, you should have been doing this or you should have been doing your math homework. It's, wow, that is a beautiful art piece. And it's contemplating, hey, maybe I should be getting my kid into art school. And it's opening up those different pathways for your kids, because school isn't set up to look at a kid and say, oh, what does this kid have an affinity for? Do they have any interests that they seem particularly talented at? Yes or no? And that's what we need to be doing. We need to be looking at younger generations, seeing what their talents are, and we need to be curating those talents at a young age so that they can develop those skill sets and go down that pathway that they really, truly enjoy.
Well, you know, I wonder about, and especially in Canada, like they have the sports schools. And the kids go, I mean, the dream for most parents and a lot of kids in Canada is my son's going to be in the NHL. Compared to the millions of people that are playing hockey at whatever level and the number of professional hockey players, it's really small. And I just wonder, like, I knew some guys from school that were on the golf team with me, and they were really good golfers, but they really didn't have, they weren't going to make it on the pro circuit. I mean, you have to be stunning.
The best of the best.
Yes, the best of the best. But a couple of them learned golf course management. They learned how to stay in an industry that they loved, and most of it, they were able to get scholarships, you know, and I think that happens to a degree in hockey, but there's just so many kids thinking I'm going to be a big star. And in any realm, acting, whatever, music.
Yeah, you know, I think that one thing that people miss a lot is that you truly can make money doing anything. So start with what do you love and work your way towards your financial goals from that point of happiness. You know, when I bartended for 8 years, and great job. You don't need post-secondary, you know, like it's great tips, great money. And that was how I worked and worked and worked until I had enough money. I slowly purchased camera equipment, this and that. But there was a point where I sat down one day, and it was just after I had I was in a short period of working for an insurance job, and I realized I didn't want to do that anymore. And I thought, well, I don't want to go back to bartending. And it was the same time frame when I filmed February's Dog. So
Okay.
I'm also coming off of a movie set going, okay, I'm a movie star now.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, I'm not going back to bartending. I can't. And, you know, I enjoyed it for a really long time. And there was a lot of pros to it, you know, a lot of socialization. And you get to meet interesting people, which I loved. But it wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. And
But it seems to me you had a goal, and you found the means to, like you said, you saved your money and you bought the camera equipment you wanted. And you didn't necessarily make that money in that industry, but you found a way to get to there.
yeah, you know, it started, I actually started getting frustrated in the modeling industry, and I realized...
No way.
Well, as a more curvy figure, I've had weight fluctuations over the years, as women do, and I was getting frustrated with just the modeling industry in general, but also doing photo shoots. I was like, well, I have none of the creative control. The photographer has it all. So that's what first got me into photography. It was like, oh, I can take my own modeling photos.
Yeah, there you go.
It's easy to take your own photo.
I can talk me into that.
Oh my gosh, it was a horrible idea. But it did get me into photography. And fast forward a few years, when I was wrapping up filming and I was looking for something else to do that could entangle my passions and my love for working with women and working for confidence, all of these things, I really just sat down and I wrote out a list of my skills and I wrote out a list of my passions. And I thought, okay, what crosses over? And I would say that's the best place to start. If somebody is struggling and they want to do something different with their life and they also are maybe considering a new career, that's what I would do. I'd write those lists. I'd see where the overlap happens. And then, take that overlap seriously and think about, okay, well, you like modeling, you like women, you like photography, you have photography equipment. That's a skill that people pay for, headshots, whatever it is. You can make a living doing that. And then it's like, okay, well, what part of that do I enjoy? And that's when I chose, I want to work with women and I want to do photography. And then you can grow. How are you going to make an income from that?
Right.
Yeah.
And so when women come to you for the boudoir, are they, I would imagine it's every person has their own reason. I would think some women are doing, some pictures or a calendar or something for their husband. And it's something that no intention of anyone else ever seeing. And so do you just adjust to what they're looking for?
Absolutely. So when I do chat with them on the phone prior to booking, it's the first question I ask is, what makes you want to do a boudoir session? And I would say over the years, I've gotten a lot of different answers. And lately, I'm getting a lot more women reaching out because they want to do it for their confidence. When I first started a couple of years ago, I would say it was more, it's a gift for my partner. And I still do get women coming in doing it as a gift for their partners. And that's amazing. It's great. It's always super fun. And I do find the women that are doing it as a gift for their partners, when they see their photos, they're like, these are now for me. He's lucky if he's getting a book.
Yeah. If we stay together,
yeah,
I'll give him one picture a year.
yeah, exactly. Or do one boudoir shoot a year.
Well, I wrote a piece that is a body image for women piece, which I do a lot of stuff where people just go, the hell are you doing talking about that? And I would just ask the audience, how many women in this room think they look great naked? And you maybe get two.
Maybe, yeah.
You have
It's
300 people in a room,
It's sad.
100 women, and maybe two would go, I look great naked. And I would say, no, here's the thing. You don't see what we see. Like, you think we see everything wrong with you. When we see you naked, all that's going through our head is naked girl. Like, we get to see, and that's the greatest thing in the world. And if it's the person that you love, that's
Absolutely
the best. And I don't know, how would you train men to get that across to women and just make them understand?
I mean, the tough part is that some women just never will. Like, that is the sad truth, is that so many women suffer from body dysmorphia and this completely wrong image of themselves. And I truly think boudoir for some women is the only way to rediscover themselves and fall in love with themselves. So I definitely would encourage that. But also, I think it's appreciating the little things. It's looking in the mirror and appreciating the little freckles on your face and understanding that those are unique to you and gorgeous to you. And hopefully maybe a man could point things out like that. The little things that he loves about his partner. Hey, I love that little freckle in your eye. Or, oh my gosh, the color of your eyes, like nobody has that green color of your eyes. It's those small things. It's not just, oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you look beautiful today. It's be specific. Tell women what part of them that you love. Wow, your hair looks so beautiful today. I've never seen it shine in the sun like that. And I think that when you hear very unique, detailed comments like that, it makes you stop, because it's not the typical thing that somebody would say to you. And I believe that would be something that men could do to help.
Yeah, if men could do that. And on the other side of that, I will say, from my point of view, a lot of women need to learn how to take a compliment.
Yes.
The answer to "you look great tonight" is "thank you."
Thank you and a smile.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
But it's because of that
I don't want to
lack of
argue with you.
self-belief,
I don't
though.
want to tell you that you look like $1 million right
And you're
now
like, "Oh,
and have
no."
you go, yeah. No, okay, I'm not going to say it to you 4 times
Exactly.
so that you can hear it a bunch of times. Like, just go, thank you.
Absolutely. I believe that women should just say thank you and accept the compliment. I do think it comes back to confidence, and it comes back to like having that confidence to understand that that compliment was genuine. And I do think that if you're being a little bit more specific and detailed with the compliments, that might
Yeah.
be easier for a woman to be like, "Oh, you're right. My freckles
And you're
are
actually
really cute."
noticing.
Yeah,
As
and it
opposed to just
feels really
rolling.
genuine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm 64. I'm learning all this from you way too late.
I think you're doing great.
Divorced twice, and it ain't going to happen a third time, I'll tell you that.
Hey, never say never.
Oh, no, I'll say never. It's, yeah, I couldn't do it again.
I understand that.
I think I'm good at picking. I'm probably really good at charming, and probably married above my scale.
Well, women do love humor, so.
They say that, but sometimes you got to watch what you think is funny and what they think is funny are
Very true.
vastly different things.
Yeah, you gotta have a match on the level of
Yeah,
humor.
you got to understand your audience. That's
Yes.
what that's all about. You don't.
I'm sure you have learned to understand your audience thoroughly over the years.
I'm getting there.
You're like, one day. It's
Hopefully
happening.
at the funeral I'll be laying in the box going, "Oh, I should have said that different."
I feel like you have to have like a funeral before you die.
Yeah, I'm not having one.
What is it, a
I think
celebration of
they're
life?
I don't go to funerals. I don't want a celebration of life. I don't. If I've lost someone that I think about them all the time, and little things will make me think about them as opposed to going to an event, sitting there and crying with everyone, and then going home and then cutting my feelings off.
Absolutely. I would much rather have a big party before I die.
Yeah, well,
Everyone, come on over. We're having fun. I mean, neither of us drink anymore, but we'll
Yeah.
we'll find a way to have fun.
yeah. Oh, without letting too much out, I actually had said at one point, if I find out I'm terminal, I'm right back at it. I loved it. I loved drinking. I loved doing chemicals. I liked all of it. And I think if there's no point in being healthier, I'm going to go out with a bang. I'm going to,
Hey, you're sober, not sane, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely not sane. I mean, that's, even I love the people that I just heard about a guy that is probably, he's getting help from a friend of mine. He's probably not going to make it.
I'm sorry to hear
But
that.
he has created this goal. And I thought, you know what? He's going to live much longer because he has this thing. He's trying to right a really big wrong. I'm not going to tell you too much, but and not that he did, that someone else is doing. And he just he decided, God damn it, I'm doing that before I die.
Amazing. And I think that's the mindset that you have to get in with confidence
Yeah.
and taking control of your life as well. I'm not here forever. I'm just going to do it. And I always say the same thing. When people ask me, oh, well, why are you doing that? I look at them and I say, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? And never once has anyone had an answer for me. Because it's true. Why not? Why not do whatever you want? Why not be the main character of your life and go after? Like, not even the main character. Be the director of your life.
Yeah.
And the main character. Go after everything that you want. Become the beauty queen. Become Miss Universe Canada. Chase your dreams. Start your own business. And just do.
So if somebody's out there, and I know it's funny, no matter how I say it, it sounds bad. My first ex-wife worked with a a group, and they were women that would go, they had a fund, they were funded, and they would go into third world countries, and they would sit there, and women would come in and present their business plan, and they would debate over all the business plans, and they would grant money to the viable ones, or the ones they didn't feel were viable. They worked with them to make them viable. And I thought, what a great thing to do. You know, she's in the U.S. She has every chance in the world compared to a lot of the rest of the world. I think a lot of the world just survives.
Yes.
And, you know, like the big dream thing. And I think now it's to the point North American kids don't even understand how good they have it.
Absolutely. I think
they don't get it.
Take any North American child to a third world country and it would be full culture shock.
Yeah. And I always, when somebody says, well, you know, these immigrants come here, and well, you know why they're doing that? Because they're willing to work harder than you are.
Absolutely.
You think you should have your world handed to you, and they're going to work their ass off to get it.
Absolutely, they will. And, you know, I think that's something that I'm very thankful for from my parents, is taking me traveling and giving me more of a worldly education. I think, in a sense, travel is the best education in the world.
Oh, definitely. You'll learn more about people and, you know,
culture.
We took our daughter out of school to go on a trip, and one of her teachers was telling, well, you can't take her. She's going to miss this. I said, she'll learn more in a month with us than she's going to learn all a year from you. I said, you're reading out of a goddamn book. You don't know anything. And one of the things that she learned, we took her to a school in a little village, and it was like 6 posts and a thatched top, and there was a TV. It was in Mexico, a TV at the end of the room that was connected to a satellite, and they just turned a camera on in Mexico City at a school, and the kids from the village came in and watched a teacher in Mexico City.
Wow.
And they couldn't believe they had that.
Yeah.
Like, that's all
a lot of kids don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
And we had people showing us their kid, like they had first kid ever that had graduated from high school.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, it's really interesting when you start to look into other cultures and you look around and see what's out there. And it's scary to think that a lot of kids don't ever get exposed to that. And I think it's really important to be exposing kids at a younger age. And I do think that the internet and how fast our technology is growing, we are communicating on a larger level, and people are now kind of starting to understand that, hey, other parts of the world are very different. And I think if you even just think about the amount of people that have access to Wi-Fi, I think it's about 3 billion people have Wi-Fi now.
Right.
Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's growing. And I think that in the next few years, in the next 5 years or so, we'll start to see closer to 5 or 6 billion people online. And it's going to be really interesting to see how that affects kids growing up and how it affects people's education and awareness of what's going on around the world.
Well, and it's if you're using, you know, that for good and not evil, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on there that's just wickedly distracting. And I mean, like you mentioned TikTok, like I'm platformed out. And I thought, you know, by the time I figure out how to get on TikTok and do anything, there'll be lump junk will be the new thing that everybody will be on. And actually, there's another one that's out now. Somebody was telling me about that everybody's going to.
Really?
And Donald Trump launched his, you know, it's like, well, by God, if I'm going to buy friends if I can't get them any other way.
Oh, my gosh.
And I don't know. I haven't seen any results on how many followers he's getting. I'm sure he's getting lots, but
TikTok's an interesting one. You know, I think that it's very misunderstood, almost in the same way that pageantry is misunderstood. You know, it came out as this, originally as Musical.ly, and you know, it's been about music and dancing, and that's really what everyone just thought TikTok is just about dancing. Dance to the music and have fun. And I have fallen in love with TikTok. I am, I have worked hard on my social media. If you Google my name, stuff comes up. My social media platforms I've put work into them, but I have never enjoyed using an app like I enjoy using TikTok. And it's because TikTok, there's a sense of realness and a sense of community and a sense of knowledge on the platform. It is short form learning, and you can find anything you want. The thing is if you log onto TikTok and your account's brand new and you're scrolling through your For You page, which is essentially like your Facebook wall or your news feed.
Right.
You're going to see dancing. You're going to see stupid videos and all kinds of random stuff because it takes time for the algorithm to understand like what you like. But as you search for things that you like and the For You page gets to know you, it's going to start to show you the stuff that you're interested in. And I have never been able to learn more knowledge in a shorter period of time than I have on TikTok. You want to know things about psychology? Look up psychology. You want anything you want, look it up and it's there. I mean, I've got all the boudoir poses on there for the ladies. So,
but you know what? With all of that, like even with, let's go back to a simpler time on Netflix, it's really hard to change your algorithm.
Yes. It is.
And it drives me insane. It's like, excuse me, I need to find exact shows to chase to change the algorithm to show me other things. Like I went through for a while, I started watching stuff from France, TV shows from France. And they were very interesting. But, now I got tons of them.
Yes.
Sitting there, and not all of them are that great for me.
I find the TikTok algorithm is very intelligent, far more intelligent than any other platform. Personally, I find it changes very quickly.
But if you had to rate them, would you? And this is my rating system. I find that Crave has a lot of stuff that I like to watch, but it's a shitty platform. It's okay, well, why do I have to go back and find what episode I was on? Why does it automatically do? Like, there's just things, and I'm sure it's a financial thing that. So it's Crave is bearable, but they don't have a ton of what I want to see. Netflix is better, but now I got to find how to change the algorithm on the Netflix so I can see new things. I really like British TV.
British TV is great.
Well,
it's very underrated.
Well, yeah, and two things about it that I really like. Number one, the people that they use, and no offense to you because you are a beautiful person, they look like real human beings. They're not so concerned with everybody being beautiful and everybody, I have been to a lot of hospitals and I have never seen the staff, no offense, goodness. The hospitals here are great. They've taken great care of me every time.
If only they could look like Grey's Anatomy actors, though. Please.
Yeah, no. You know what I want? I want them to be good at what they do.
Yes, absolutely.
That's really what I want.
I find that's kind of what TikTok's like, though. There's girls on there. You're posting videos, and maybe you have a pimple on your chin. Maybe you have no makeup on. But you're posting anyway, and you're being real. And that's why people have followed me, is because I'm real. And I will jump on there without makeup on. It's a platform where people feel like they aren't being judged on. Because
okay. Well, they are.
Well, they are. But you're always being judged, right?
More for entertainment value, maybe, than just appearance.
So it's like when you go on Facebook or Instagram, if you haven't really been building a following, who follows you? It's your childhood friends, the kids you went to school with, and your family. It's weird to start posting a lot, and that's your audience.
Yeah.
But TikTok was like, it's like you got to go to a new school, and everyone there was more or less nice. Like, you do get
That
negative.
doesn't
Negativity does happen. It's on every platform. You can't avoid that. But it's almost like it feels like you have a chance no matter who you are on TikTok. And it's this whole new world of people who you've never met before. And you can create your own digital little community of people that are passionate about the things that you're passionate about. And no matter how small your niche is, no matter what is important to you, you can create content around that niche and people will follow you. The people that are interested in those things, the algorithm is smart enough that you find each other and you build these incredible little virtual communities of support and you meet the coolest people. And, you know, I've heard a lot of people saying TikTok's the new Tinder because people are matching up and your algorithms are similar. So it's like, of course you come across each other because you're interested in the same things. So a lot of people have been meeting their new future husbands and wives on there. It's interesting.
Or future ex-husband or ex-wife.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, no, I know. I went on a solid effort to start just eliminating people from Facebook. I have 5,000, and normally I'm tapped out at 5,000. Mm-hmm. And I decided people that are just saying really negative things and it started with my food business, and I would post a picture and you'd get something like, oh, you know, the portion's too small for that amount of money and this doesn't look right and this. And I was engaging them for a while and the majority of them, number one, had never bought anything from me. They never tasted my food. They had no idea what it really was like. They had no idea that it has no preservatives and the reasons that I make it that way. And then I discovered it was like, I'm never going to change them. They're spending their day looking for something to post shitty comments about. And so I don't want to be their friend.
Absolutely. People feed off of negativity and a fear response as well. You know, that's why you see a lot of advertisements. It's like a scary movie is happening and it's a car ad. And, you know, it's the fear response, and it's people on the internet as well. It's like they're putting their own frustrations. They're putting that and projecting that onto you and your posts. And they're thinking, well, I'm miserable. I don't feed myself properly. So your food is probably crap. And they're going to attack what you're doing because they don't feel confident in themselves.
I would, you know, it's if anybody says something about the price, and I love when people say, because, you know, you get a lasagna, it's expensive, and they say, that's really expensive. Yes, you can get them cheaper. Please read the label. And if you're comfortable putting that into your body, have at her.
Absolutely. And I'm
not here to tell you what to eat.
Absolutely. People don't do their research and unfortunately don't generally really read labels either.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. I mean, a lot of the processed food is there for a couple of different reasons. Number one, there's a lot of people on Earth that need to eat, and there's a lot of people that need to be able to afford to feed a family. And you can't always do that with really expensive stuff, and you're going to need some of that. And I get that.
Isn't it something crazy like 68% food waste in Canada too? Like it's just
brutal.
atrocious.
You know what? And I'm going to say
that's
this,
what we got to do.
Be
share the food.
This is what people should do. Try to shop every day.
Yes. Yeah.
Buy what you're going to eat.
Pick up what you need.
And eat that.
Even 2 days. Even like you can pick up what you need to make dinner for 3 days, 2 or 3 days, and not have waste.
Yeah.
It's I before I went sober and quit drinking, I used to. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I feel like I need to. When I would get drunk,
right,
I would end up crying about all of the starving children in the world if my boyfriend at the time threw away my leftover food. Like, say we're coming over the bar, and I would always pack up my food, and I'd have my to-go thing. And if I got home and he threw it away, I would bawl for hours.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Like, how could you throw that food away? There's starving children in the world.
Yeah, but it's like you're a 50s mom right now. And I used to argue with my mom, you know, if it's in, they're not going to send the food to those kids. There's a real disconnect somewhere else in the food process.
It's a broken system, and it's...
In the U.S., they pay farmers not to grow certain crops some years to control the price.
Absolutely.
And it's like, well, we have a lot of starving people. Why don't you just pay them, have them grow the food? Farmers are very proud people, and they want to work, and then send that food to people that need it.
Absolutely. It is one of the most broken systems in the world, and it's one that I am definitely passionate about, and it's a big thing to take on. It's not something that we can fix tomorrow. And I do think that the other issue is that if we are fixing world hunger and we say we did fix it overnight, say as of tomorrow, every single human being in the world has full access to all the food that they need. Then the issue is, okay, now we've got 8 billion healthy people who are fully sustained with food, but how do we sustain them in every other way? How do we support 8 billion people that are well fed? And that's the broken system.
Well, we have
we have
system
too many
after
system.
And I'm sure there are. My mother was very religious. I'm sure she would see COVID as the Lord, controlling the population of the earth because there's too many people here.
I've heard that.
Yeah, I'm sure there are people that are expounding upon that one, which is
I'm sure
kind of saying, well, there's every other theory. And you know what I did on the how people look? The one thing that I've learned through COVID is almost every woman that I see has really great eyes, because that's all you're seeing.
So much more noticeable now.
And but that's so much of what a human being is our eyes.
Absolutely. I mean, we went from duck lips now to eyes are being showcased.
Dear Lord,
and it's
I don't know.
Great transition.
Oh, I don't know who did it the first time, and I don't know who saw her walking down the street and went, "Oh shit, I got to get me some of those lips." Like it's absurd.
Yeah, it did go a little overboard, and that's one thing we can thank COVID for stopping.
Yeah, has it actually cut it back?
I feel like it's cut back. I mean, girls don't get to show their lips off at all anymore, so why bother worrying about
what's
them?
Wrong
now
with the lips
everyone's wearing caterpillars on their eyes instead.
Huh?
Eyelash extensions. They're much more popular now.
Oh, the
caterpillars on the eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an odd trend too. I wonder what the oddest thing in
it's
fashion.
When you get all of it at once.
Yeah, if you do it all,
Don't Google odd fashion.
No, I have seen some people that have had so much work done that they look like a cat.
Yes.
And that's where you
know
just
what?
go,
If you
that
want
couldn't
to
have been
look like
the
a
plan.
cat, go for it. If that's what brings you the most joy in your life, I always say, by all means, do what makes you happy.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna stick with all of what's wrong with me is character. And I grew up with a dad that said, well, if you're not getting stitches and breaking stuff, you're not even trying. And I spent a lot of time in the hospital when I was a kid.
The good old days when you were allowed to play on the playgrounds.
Oh, the playground. We wouldn't.
If you had, yeah.
Well, we went to school in the summer when it was closed, and we knew how to get in.
I grew up basically in the forest, so
Where did you grow up?
I was born on an island called Lasqueti Island. It's a very small island just off the coast of Vancouver Island. It's funny because I've spent my whole life telling people when they ask, like, "Oh, I'm from Vancouver Island," because at least people would know that.
Right.
And more recently, I've realized that I need to embrace and take the time to explain.
Muskegee?
Lasqueti. Yes.
Okay, and where's that name from?
That's a great question. I've never looked where that name is from.
What, are you kidding me?
But it's most likely from a native tribe, local.
That would be a great story.
It would be. Hey, I know where my names are from.
I'm from the City of Angels.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very, very small island. It's about 14 miles long, 300 people. I don't know what the current population is, maybe a little larger,
How
but-
old were you when you left there?
Well, my mom actually only sold our property there a few years ago. I lived there. I was actually born there. I was born in a cabin with no indoor plumbing, no
Did it
electricity.
have at least an H on the door, like anything to make it look like a
No, it did have a
midwife?
door. We had a we had a door. Technically, we had a shack, and we lived in that while my parents built the house. I wasn't quite born yet, although I do remember a time when we stayed in that shack again. Although I don't know why we were. Maybe we were renovating.
Remodeling.
I
Yeah.
think so. I think we were putting a floor in, to be honest. But yeah, so it's interesting because I definitely grew up a little bit different, and again, like I think that that's helped me have the confidence to speak out and tell people that no matter where you come from, you can do anything that you want.
Well, I think you have a choice. If you grew up like that, you have the choice to think that you're a lesser person because you didn't have what everybody else had theoretically in North America, or you look at it and go, I'm a better person because I'm more solidly grounded to the world.
Absolutely. I feel really lucky, and I think that I didn't always understand that the way I grew up was weird.
Yeah, you never do.
You don't until you start having conversations like this. And then you're like, oh, I should have had a fridge. Oh, well, okay. Oh, you didn't have a shelf outside of your window that was your fridge? Oh, okay. Well,
With a cage over so the animals didn't get your food.
yeah, we had a cave that we would put our food in the water.
Really?
In the cave.
Oh, that's
To
great.
keep it cold and away from animals. Yes, so we kind of had a very large fridge, I guess. It was down a long hill. It was very tiring to walk to.
That would have to give you a great appreciation for a nice condo.
I have a great appreciation for indoor plumbing. Our bathtub was
I
a
didn't even go there.
cast iron bathtub that we would light a fire under to warm the water.
And my first thought was, did you ever burn your bum? Was it still so hot? No,
you
like
for
I
asking.
know,
Yes.
I'm a really practical thinker that the bottom would be so hot that you could burn
You were the
yourself when you
first
sat
person
down.
to ever think of that. And the answer is
I
we
worry
had
about
wooden
these things.
planks. So we would sit
Oh,
on
like a
wooden
sauna,
planks. And you'd put them in and you'd
Very
sit on the
European
wooden
of
plank.
you.
But yes, I have been burnt multiple times and it was not fun.
So turning a tap is like
Oh no.
The
For a long
greatest.
time our sink was just a hose through our fridge window.
through
Into
the fridge window.
Yes.
That's
Same
great.
same window. But yeah, dual purpose, it served as the hose coming through was our sink. We had a physical sink, but just not hooked up for a long time. And then there was the shelf and we'd put stuff on that shelf. And that was
Well, I've always had the theory that eventually, if everything goes to rat shit for all of society, the really, really wealthy people that don't know how to do anything are going to be an excellent source of food.
oh my goodness.
Because it will turn around to where unless you can contribute to the society you're in, you're not useful.
That's true. It would
And
be...
if everything's gone, you don't need a banker. You don't need a lawyer.
Well, at
You
least
need
I would know
healers.
how to survive, I guess.
And how to not burn your bum on a cast iron.
Exactly. I know how to use a generator and I know how to use a Pelton wheel for wintertime
A what?
electricity.
A Pelton wheel?
Pelton wheel, it basically as water runs through it. So you'd set it up somewhere if you had like a small creek or something. It runs through
okay.
it and it creates electricity. So we
So
had electricity, but it was very limited.
Oh, so did you sets of batteries that it would power them up?
Yes, and then we had solar panels
how a
as
dam
well for the
works.
summer. There you go.
It has
yeah.
well, they're a little bigger turbines than a wheel.
I
But
have
very
faith,
inventive.
though, that I could survive. If, zombie apocalypse, I have faith in myself.
Well, I'm hoping it won't be a zombie
Is-
apocalypse.
True. It could
Just
be
a
COVID.
regular
Just COVID.
old-fashioned apocalypse.
You never know.
Yeah, you never do. Well,
Zombie sounds more fun, though.
It does, and I mean, there's so many zombie films. We're all very knowledgeable, and my fear,
See?
though, is
We're
that
prepared.
Yeah, but if it happens, are the real zombies going to be the same as Hollywood writers' depiction?
Well, here's
will
the
we
thing.
actually
Hollywood
know
has
how to
seen
kill
all
them?
kinds.
Yes.
Hollywood, you get the very slow ones, the quick ones. You get a little bit of everything in Hollywood. So
Yes.
I bet that's probably what life would do to us. It's a little bit of everything.
I wonder who was it that did the original? There was an original zombie film. He did all he ever. Do you know who this is? All he ever did. I'm asking Juan if he knows. He knows a lot about movies. He did the original zombie films, and he did a few others. Well, I gotta send Matt a note. He'll know. Yeah, Matt'll know from SIF.
It's important to have good people on your team that can help answer important questions.
And you know what? That's what I've enjoyed the most about doing a podcast is learning stuff that I would have never known.
Absolutely.
Like about that island. I never heard about your island.
Well, maybe not my island, but
Well, you split it with 300 people.
yeah, exactly.
That's,
You get a pretty good chunk. Your neighbors are really far away.
yeah, that would always seem like a bonus to me. I'm not, although I like where I live now and I like my neighbors, but I've not always liked my neighbors.
It's a little close in the city. I will say that that's one thing I like about Calgary is I feel like Calgary's a little bit of a big city with a small town feel to it. Like the vibe is a little bit smaller town, and we're close to the mountains.
It's not
We
like
get
a
little bit of everything
metropolis.
here. And we've got great food.
Yep.
The food here is so underrated, and we have food from so many different cultures.
Well, and I was on this other guy's podcast, that the Dehan podcast. So look for that. But we were talking about that. He said we had to do it on Zoom because he's from Virginia. I said you have to come here for no other reason but to eat.
Yeah.
And the great thing that I think has happened in Canada in general is people are immigrate here from other places, and I don't see that at all as a negative. I see it as we can eat every kind of food in the world. Mm-hmm. And one of the easiest ways for people to make money when they come here is to start a restaurant and serve food. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it comes from mom and dad.
Absolutely. Plus, then you get to know the people in the city that you're living with.
Yeah.
And it's a great way. It's just like when I bartended, I met so many amazing people, and I got to learn so much knowledge and met people that were traveling. And it felt like I was almost doing a little bit of traveling because of the people that would come from all over the world.
Vicariously living through them.
Exactly. That's what my mom said. She says, Quinn, I'm just going to vicariously live through all of the photos you send me.
Oh, that's nice. I'd like to meet your mom. She sounds like a good person.
She's a pretty cool person. She is a Waldorf school teacher. So she's spent
Really?
years studying anthropology and just so many incredible life lessons I have learned from her, and I'm really blessed to have such a wonderful woman in my life.
We should throw her on the podcast when she's here.
I think she would love that.
Did she grow up on the island?
She didn't grow up in the island. She was actually born in Montreal. She was adopted. And my dad was born in Toronto, and I actually don't know where they met, but they ended up in BC. And they
How do you
lived.
not know that story?
Well, I don't know.
Call her. Call your mother after this.
She would answer right now. But yeah, so she and my dad actually lived on a sailboat, and my mom had her first kid on a sailboat, my oldest sister, Tillicum. And she's clearly also not sane. She is sober too, though. So all three of us will We're
Look
all
at us.
sober and not sane.
Look
So
at
it's
us go.
perfect. And then my second sister, Chloe, actually was born in a small hospital just because the entire town got very concerned for my mother's well-being and thought that she was insane for
So did they
wanting to
send
have
her
a home
somewhere?
birth. So they very strongly encouraged her to go to the hospital. And
Where was the hospital?
that's a great question. I actually believe that they weren't living on Lasqueti at the time.
You know a lot about a lot of things except your family.
Except my family, yes. You know what it is my parents have moved around so much and they've lived in so many tiny little places. And I know that they were in a small town at the time. I think that it was on Vancouver Island. It might have been like the Courtney Hospital, I want to say. That
What a
would be
great
my
life.
best guess. And then after they had her is, I believe, when they moved to Lasqueti Island. And then I was born 9 and 11 years after my older sisters.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
I was the last ditch attempt at having a boy. Worked out really well for my dad.
But I would be willing to bet all 3 girls could chop wood.
Yes, we can. You know what's so funny is I just moved into a different house and I have a wood-burning fireplace. And I was telling my friend this day I moved in, I was like, oh my gosh, like, look at this beautiful fireplace. We should get a cord of wood and put it in the backyard and I'll chop it up. And she just looked at me like, what? Like,
And
what do you mean
then
chop
a
it up?
cast iron bathtub.
Hey, I thought, it'd be great exercise. I'm preparing for Miss Universe Canada. Get fit.
Yeah, no kidding.
Really attractive guy on TikTok, very famous for chopping wood. So,
Really? There you go.
I thought it'd fit right
That
in.
could be the guy.
That's my new TikTok.
Yeah. There you go. Watching a guy chop wood.
No, I'll be chopping.
Oh, I would watch you chop wood just to go, wow, look at her chop
Hey,
wood.
I thought it was a normal thing.
I chopped wood to make money at one point when I didn't have a job.
Amazing.
And people,
My mom
I don't
planted
seem like
trees
that
when
guy.
she didn't have
Yeah?
money
Like
for
for
a
the
job,
forestry
so
or?
you guys were doing reverse jobs.
Yeah,
Perfect.
once they're grown, you got to do something with them. Yeah, that's a big job. Like, it's still in California, they do a lot of that too. You can get a summer job planting trees.
It's a great job. It's fun. You
If-
get exercise outside. You
get
meet
a-
cool people.
Strong back.
Yeah. Hey, I think it's like almost a mental health thing. It's enjoyable and it's good physically.
But it isn't growing something a really good mental health thing.
Yes.
I'm ecstatic. I got I bought a $4.95 tree that was on sale that looked all scraggly, and I thought I've never had a plant that lived. Like, I kill
no.
cactus, I can kill anything. And so I got that, and it's called a money tree. And all the leaves fell off of it, and I was so depressed. And then I just left it alone, and I came out one day, and there were 2 leaves on it, and now it's flourishing, and
Wow.
I'm so happy.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I mean, it still lives with me, so it hasn't made it out of the woods yet. But it's a sense of confidence. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And once again, just say, where can people find out about you? Where can they support your SOS charity and your event?
Honestly, my name is pretty unique, so just search Quinn Teechma and you will find me. But my handle is my name, Quinn Teechma, Quinn Teechma, Teechma. My business website is queenstudios.com.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
After you go through Miss Universe, we'll have to have you on and with your
I will
Kiera.
be on the Miss Universe Canada website moving forward. They are launching that. I think they said a few weeks to a month, but don't quote me on that. But it will be live prior to the actual competition, and then you can view all of the contestants, and you will be able to find voting information there as well.
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much for telling us your story.
Thank you so much for having me, and
Oh,
I
our
look
pleasure.
forward to my event, April 10th, that you're going to be at, right?
Sure. It's at a bar. I don't know if I'll.
Hey, children are allowed until 7 p.m. It is a family event. So I actually will be having children walk in my fashion show, which
Oh,
is
neat.
really exciting because
Yeah.
part of my humanitarian project is that I am dressing young girls up as queens and princesses with crowns, and I'm taking portraits of them by donation. And then they're going to also walk in the fashion show. So Ray's Closet is sponsoring our dresses for the show. So it's very exciting, and it's a family event. So now you're bound to come.
Now I have no
You have to.
excuse. You've taken them all away.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? Really great to get to know you, Quinn. And once again, best of luck with all of that. And we'll have you back after the pageant if you have time. I'm sure
Absolutely.
You'll be busy, but
I would
we'll
love
work it
to.
out and hear more about how your story went.
It was a pleasure finally meeting you, and I had such a great time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And remember, thank you, Liz, from the camera store for the equipment, keeping us going here, making us look good. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe and like us on YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And look for Quinn on the internet and follow her progress. It'll be great.